Good morning to one and all. Myself, Mamta Sri. I'm studying BSc MPCS third year in TTWRDC Khambam. So, I'm going to give the seminar, and the subject is physics, and the topic is polarization. So, now I'm going to discuss about what is meant by polarization and its types and its methods and its properties and characteristics. So, now I'm going to discuss about what is meant by polarization. Polarization means the process of transforming unpolarized light into polarized light is known as polarization. So, polarization is a phenomenon observed only in transverse wave. Here, light is a transverse electromagnetic wave. So, types of polarization. So, there are three types. One is unpolarized light, and the second one is polarized light, and the third one is partially polarized light. So, now I am going to discuss about unpolarized light. Unpolarized light means it consists of equal number of perpendicular and parallel components. So, let us see here in this diagram. In this diagram, perpendicular component or parallel component. So this is the unpolarized light. So, and the second one is polarized light. So see here in this diagram, this is unpolarized light and this is parallel polarized light. So polarized light is consist of equal number of parallel or perpendicular components. So, and the final one is partially polarized light. So, partially polarized light is consist of unequal number of parallel or perpendicular components. So, see here in this diagram, unequal number of perpendicular and parallel components. So, now I am going to discuss about methods of polarizations. There are 5 types of polarizations. So, there are 5 types of polarization. One is polarization by reflection, and the second one is polarization by diffraction, and the third one is polarization by double diffraction, and the fourth one is polarization by scattering, and the fifth one is polarization by selective absorption. So now I am going to discuss that polarization by reflection. So here let us see here in this diagram, let us consider a glass plate and draw a normal line. Then, when unpolarized light is incident on the surface of glass plate, then some portion of light get reflected and some portion of light get transmitted. So, this here reflected light is polarized light and reflected light is partially polarized light. So, polarization of light by reflection from the surface of glass was discovered by Malus in 1808. So let us consider a glass plate which is incident on the upper surface of glass plate, that is unpolarized light, and the light is reflected with same angle of incident, that is polarized light. So the remaining part of light get transmitted, that is partially polarized light. So the angle of incidence is equal to 57.5 degrees for a glass surface, and it is also known as polarizing angle. So the vibrations of the incident light can be resolved into two components. One is parallel to the glass surface and other is perpendicular to the glass surface. So this concept is explained by Brewster's law. So now I am going to discuss about Brewster's law. So see here in this diagram. So again we have to consider a glass surface. So and draw a normal line, and then when unpolarized light is incident on the glass surface, then some portion of light get reflected and some portion of light get refracted. This reflected light is polarized light and this refracted light is partially polarized light. So here Brewster's performed a number of experiments to study the polarization of light by reflection at the surface of different media. So ordinary light is completely plane polarized in the plane of incident when it is reflected. According to Brewster's law, the refractive index of the media is equal to the polarization angle. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, that is I equal to R equal to P, means angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So that is known as polarization angle. So according to Snell's law, here mu equal to sin I by sin R. So according to Brewster's law, we can write mu equal to tan P. In the sense of tan P, we can write sin P by cos P. So this is the equation 1. So from Snell's law, we can write sin I by sin R equal to sin P by cos P, equation 2. So multiplying equation 1 and 2, we get sin P by sin R equal to sin P by cos P. So here this sin P and this sin P will get cancelled. So the remaining one is cos P equal to sin P. So we can write sin 90 minus theta equal to cos theta, and again cos 90 minus theta equal to sin theta. So I am here taking sin pi by 2 minus P equal to sin R. So this sign will get, so pi by 2 minus P equal to R. So pi by 2 equal to P plus R. So finally we solved the Brewster's law. This is the Brewster equation. Pi by 2 equal to P plus R. This is the Brewster equation. So I am going to discuss about the second one, that is the polarization by refraction. So see here in this diagram, polarization by refraction means here we are taking a 10 glass plates. So in this 10 glass plate, we can draw a normal line. So here when unpolarized light is incident on the glass plate, then some portion of light get reflected and some portion of light get transmitted. So this reflected light is a completely polarized light and this refracted light is a partially polarized light. So here this reflected light is again behaves like an incident light, and here this incident light is behave like a polarized and this is partially polarized. So like this, here it will get finally polarized light. So that's why we are here using 10 glass plates. This polarization of refraction, another name we can call as piles of glass plates. So see here, I am explaining line by line. When unpolarized light is incident on the surface of glass plate at a polarizing angle, then some portion of light get reflected and some portion of light get refracted. So the reflected light is completely polarized light, by the refracted light is partially polarized light. So that's why we are here used two piles of glass plates. When unpolarized light is incident on the piles of glass plate, it contains 1 to 10 glass plate at one by one above the other and at polarizing angle. Then some portion of light is reflected and remaining light is get refracted. Here the reflected light is completely polarized light and the refracted light is partially polarized light. Now the plain polarized light is again behaves like incident light for second glass plate. So in the previous diagram I am discussing about when unpolarized light is get reflected, that the reflected light is again behaves like a second glass plate. So see here in this line. Now the plain polarized light for the second glass plate is again behaves like the incident light for the third glass plate. So here some portion of light get reflected and remaining portion of light get refracted. So this process will continue until we get the polarized light. So in the case we have taken 10 glass plate, finally we get polarized light. So this phenomenon is known as polarization by refraction. So now I am going to discuss about Maler's law. So according to Maler's law, it states that the intensity of polarized light is transmitted through the analyzer is directly proportional to square of cosine of angle between the polarizer and analyzer. Means the intensity of light, polarized light, is transmitted through analyzer is directly proportional to square of cosine of angle between polarizer and analyzer. So see here in this diagram, when here consider one polarizer and another is analyzer. When unpolarized light is incident on the polarizer, then it will give the polarized light, and this polarized light will again transmitted through analyzer, and this analyzer will give the polarized light. So now I am going to discuss the proof of Maler's law. Let us consider a plane of polarizer OA of amplitude A. Now amplitude A is resolved into two components, that is, one is A cos theta and the another one is A sin theta. So the final resultant amplitude, that is A equal to A cos theta. So squaring on both sides, we get here A square equal to A square cos square theta. So we can write amplitude means A square equal to, we get intensity. Amplitude A square equal to, we can write intensity I. So I equal to I naught cos square theta. So finally we get I is directly proportional to cos square theta. So this is the Maler's law. So I am proved here Maler's law. So now I am going to discuss about polarization by double refraction. So see here in this diagram, let us I am considering a calcite crystal, and when unpolarized light, that is AB, is incident on the calcite crystal, so it is resolved into two components. One is extraordinary ray and other one is ordinary ray. So this extraordinary ray is gives the polarized light, and this ordinary ray is also gives the plain polarized light. So here in this diagram, so I am explaining about that line by line. When a ray of unpolarized light is allowed to pass through uniaxial calcite crystal, it split into two components. So in the above diagram, I am discussed that when two uniaxial crystal is split into two components, that is ordinary ray and extraordinary ray, one of the refracted ray follow the law of refraction, that is called ordinary ray. So whereas other is refracted ray that does not follow the law of refraction, that is called extraordinary ray. So this phenomenon is known as double of refraction. So both the rays, that is ordinary ray and extraordinary ray, both are plane polarized. So here the incident ray does not split up into ordinary and extraordinary rays when it is incident parallel or perpendicular to the optic axis of calcite crystal. So therefore, if an object is viewed through a doubly refracting crystal, so two images are observed. So from the figure we can observe that an ink dot is marked on a white paper. So when this is the white paper, let me consider So when an ink dot is marked on a white paper, so a calcite crystal is placed over it. So now if the crystal is rotated slowly about a vertical axis, it is observed that one image remains fixed and other remains, it rotates. So when the rotate of the crystal, the fixed image is normal, that is ordinary, and while other image is abnormal, and that is extraordinary. So now I am going to discuss about the properties of ordinary and extraordinary rays. So here let an ordinary ray light AB be incident on the calcite crystal at an angle of incident. Means here, see here in this diagram, when AB, that is incident on the calcite crystal AB, so it will give angle of incident I. So the refracted along two paths inside the crystal. So the extraordinary ray along BC making an angle of refraction. So here we are denoting RE. This is refraction of extraordinary ray. So the ordinary ray along BD making an angle of incident, that is refraction or not, we are denoting. So this is the properties. So now I am going to discuss about the characteristics of refracted rays. So the two rays, that is one is ordinary and extraordinary ray, emerge from the crystal along CE and DO, which are parallel. So see here in this diagram, CE, see here CE. So in this diagram, CE and DO, which are parallel to each other. So the refractive index of the material for the two rays will be, that is mu naught equal to sin I by sin R naught, that is refractive index of ordinary ray. And another one is refractive index of extraordinary ray. We can write sin I by sin Re, that is refractive index of extraordinary ray. Here when mu naught is the refractive index for ordinary ray, mu naught is refractive index for ordinary ray, and mu E for refractive index of extraordinary ray. So in calcite crystal, Re is greater than R naught and mu naught is greater than mu E. So refractive index these are, and the velocity of ordinary ray is less than the velocity of extraordinary ray. Hence the velocity of light ordinary ray inside the crystal is less than the velocity of extraordinary ray. So such as we called as a negative crystal. So see here in this diagram, considering one calcite crystal and it has 109 degrees and 79 degrees. So when unpolarized light is incident on the calcite crystal and draw a normal line to this calcite crystal, then that one is incident light is AB, that is unpolarized light. It is split into two components. One is extraordinary ray and other one is ordinary ray. This extraordinary ray, that is C2E, it will also parallel to each other, and D2O is also plane parallel to each other. So in this diagram we are discussing. So I am discussed here what is meant by polarization and its types and methods, and also discuss characteristics and properties. So thank you one and all giving this a wonderful opportunity to me. Thank you.